Deleted session, November 22, 1978. Good evening. Now the message is clear. Fanaticism can lead to mass suicide and murder. Social injustices can cause circumstances in which people will give up reason, logic, and personal responsibility to follow a leader who offers them protection from an unsafe universe. The message is meant to make all question who call themselves religious people. It is therefore noted Prime Minister, Seth Begin and noted President Seth Sadat. It is there as an early Christmas present for those who use Christianity in fanatical ways. It is there also for all political leaders. The message blazes across your television screens at a time when fundamental religion has begun to sprout again, both Eastern and Christian. The warning points in particular to young people, showing in capsule form and in exaggerated horror the ultimate ends of such fanaticism when it is allowed to play itself out. Capitalism has its faults, and democracy has its potential dangers. As has any kind of government, often mere lip service is given to the beliefs, but they exist. There has been a strong distaste among your people for the blind following of public figures. Your politicians are scoffed at as often as they are honored, and their human feelings are examined sometimes with glee. Overall, a good health policy on the part of the people. Your religious leaders have freedom to say what they want to, and they have all of technology's advances in communications at their service. As per James, when democracy does not work, people look elsewhere. James' followers were the disinherited, the disenchanted, the poor and struggling. Yet many of those people were intellectually gifted and felt their promise cut off. They were bitter, but more. They were frightened. They could not free their native abilities. Many, now. Jones seemed to be their key to the establishment. He was the opener of doors. He had his picture taken with celebrities, and because he was a religious man, the establishment took it for granted that his aims and policies were good, and that he spoke for those who had no voice otherwise. He was, of course, a despot, and he did indeed set up his own alien kingdom. Those that followed him pretended to themselves not to know what they were doing. You make your own lessons, so that these mass suicides and murders are an objective culmination, on those people's part, of honor. Later, psychological suicides committed on the part of millions who abdicate their personal responsibility in such a way. Since so many were involved, and since the temple people were their own community, then the symbolism also involves nations. Around the area, there was a land of law, so that the situation was contained, and the temple people were aliens in that land. There are international implications, however. The fact that these were Americans is indeed a shock, and a shock that will make religious Americans question the nature of their own beliefs. The individual either exists for the sake of the society, or the society exists for the sake of the individual. So it seems either road, however, brings its own difficulties, An enlightened position would be somewhat different. For a reasonable free individual will automatically want to aid his fellow man, and you will have a society of individuals fully functioning, and that would mean you would have fully functioning social organizations. Religious concepts that stress obedience over expression can also bring about civic disorder. Robert has had many excellent signs, particularly in his bathroom behavior this week, as old patterns of posture were broken, and new methods of walking and so forth were tried out. There is some anticipatory motion, in that while in one position the body anticipates new motions, better ones, that it cannot as yet take. Those motions may be taken a few days or a week later in actuality. Robert feels the sensations. However, certain portions of the body have been carried along, so to speak. They are now coming into better motion. The main point is for him to track the process of healing, and for you to reinforce that belief, for it will in itself accelerate the process that should be underlined. You are both expressing what should be a natural time of rest, not a low point. Had you been working on unknown, you would have had far less difficulty with your extractions. Your mind would have been on the book, and the extractions considered distractions, annoying and to be put aside. Again, you equate both of you the time of rest as somewhat dangerous, as if it could lead to all kinds of extravagant leisure, laziness, or as if it made you like everybody else. For when both of you are not working, you feel lost without your badges of superiority. You want to show you are too good for creature comfort. This is an excellent time to try the library together, to lie down on purpose to try out our bodies, or sign time. It is an excellent time to see how many enjoyments can be found in the day. To put her creatively, let Robert forget a book for a change, so that creative ideas of all kinds can surface. Be more playful in your lives. Do you have questions? Ralph said, No, I guess not. They said, I will return to my book at your convenience. If you want something to do sometime, I will do a quicker for you, say 4 nights a week of questions and answers, and I will even provide the questions. I bid you then a fond good evening. Ralph said, Thank you very much, said